Hello and welcome to a brand new Five Heart podcast here on Coronation and YouTube. I'm well off my game. All right, it's going to be an interesting show if I'm this flat-footed coming out the gate. Regardless, I'm your host Greg Mahachko, and joining me and the newest member of the panel, if you will, is Minnie. Minnie, hello, welcome back. Great to see you.
Hello, everybody. I see the Chatterfields out there. Justin Raji, he's my bud. Yes.
It almost feel like Justin's surprised every time, like to see you.
Minnie! I know.
Moonbot 7, same.
Hi.
There's no. This isn't me being jealous. This is just me like eventually that it wears off. You know,
it's
like,
because I was one of them. You know,
it's true.
I still am in a lot of the YouTube channels I watch. So we hang out a lot.
You have risen beyond the. There's no way that I can clean that up and make it at all nice. You all might be noticing who's not with us tonight.
Look.
Oh,
Aaron?
thanks, Aaron, one of our very own writers at coronation.com, so I actually paid him to say that. Aaron does a great job, specifically with baseball coverage. So we'll be hearing and talking more with Aaron in the spring. Moonbot7 says that you are a true fan insider.
Yes.
And I mean, the real fun part is that we're all fans. Like, you know, none of us has. I guess John would probably be the only one who at one point had special access. But you know, after Minnesota in 2021, that kind of went away. But John is not here with us. He gave us that heads up. Likely to not see him. His daughter is in town from San Diego for one more day.
Mm-hmm.
She leaves tomorrow. So John said probably not going to be here tonight, and at least so far in the early minutes he's not, and that's fine. I'm a big believer, Minnie, as I'm sure you are, family first. So
absolutely, I think that's great that he gets to spend time with his kids. He has a son and a daughter, right?
Two sons and a daughter.
Okay.
One of the sons is nicknamed Rotten Son, as I'm sure you know, because he chose to go to Minnesota instead of Nebraska. So
okay.
Well, Roger's asking already. So let's crack the cold one. And tonight, you know what? I came prepared. Roger and Fred when he's around. And tonight I'm drinking Great Lakes Brewery's Christmas Ale.
Ooh.
And here's another image for fun. So Christmas Ale is 7.5% alcohol by volume. It's 30 IBUs. I don't know, Minnie, how much beer you drink.
No. I don't drink beer. In fact, I've never drank a beer. Not that I have anything against, I know, right? What's wrong with me? I've tried. I just like coffee. You know, certain people can drink coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with beer. Certain people can drink beer. I've tried all kinds. I know. Sorry. I'm sorry.
This is personally offensive to Murph Dog Brewing Company because obviously they are in the business of brewing beer.
I'm going to get thrown out.
No.
I better watch it.
Yeah, they make a coffee beer.
Okay. Do you make a tea beer? I'm a tea drinker.
Well, you probably make a tea beer, right? Well, John doesn't drink it all anymore, so you're fine.
I'm okay. I do drink, just not beer and not hard alcohol.
So. Wine, I guess wine's the only thing that's left?
Yeah. Yes.
You have a wine cellar?
No. But so I just like wine spritzers, you know, a light little drink, especially in the heat. So
you drink White Claws, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Good.
I'm not into fad stuff. But somebody mentioned my print back here.
I did see that. Let me see if I can't find that again. There it is. Roger says, love the Nebraska print. That is it's subtle.
Thank you.
It's artistic.
So it's hanging up in my house, and I have a lot of color, and I love art, and I wanted something that was like, could stay up. So I found that and I just fell in love with it.
I'm a big fan. Obviously, it's
Thank you.
Nebraska. We're gonna get there, but I trust you had a nice Christmas.
Oh yeah.
It
Great
got very cold
Christmas.
in Arizona, I'm sure.
No. Well, actually, I think right before Christmas, it was colder in Phoenix than it was in Lincoln. It was
I
like
remember you said that in Slack, I
52
think.
degrees. I know. It was 52 degrees here in Phoenix and 54 in Lincoln. But then you guys they got snow, so
Yeah, we
that
had a
kind of
little
canceled it
dusting
out.
this morning here in Illinois. Let's see. Going back to your question about a tea beer, Murph Dog Brewing Company says tea, hop water, we call that.
Okay.
I am Bat Dad recognizes you and says always see you comment. And yeah, I am Bat Dad. If you weren't here a couple weeks ago when we officially brought her on, she got a promotion from
They
commenter.
wanted to keep me.
Yeah. And hopefully we can just afford, if your salary demands get too outrageous, I don't know what's going to happen. So, let's see here. So you had a nice Christmas. I actually got this for Christmas.
Nice.
For those of you who are just listening to this and not watching on YouTube live or on the recorded, it's just a Nebraska football hoodie. I got it from my niece and nephew, the same niece who was giving me shit over the volleyball national championship. Like, obviously she knows I'm a Nebraska fan, and she says, yeah, Nebraska they stunk and they just didn't want to win. And I was like, are you a Texas fan? She's like, yeah. I said, if any other team would have, what bandwagon would you have jumped on just to heap piles of crap on your uncle?
Everybody does that. All of my family does the same thing. They just Google, okay, who is Nebraska's worst enemy? And they're like, all of a sudden, now they're fans.
Right. And then did you see and I don't have the image here to share, but it was some Twitter account or X account, I guess. And they had map of the, United States, and they said this state is polling for this school in the college football playoffs, and they had Nebraska polling for Texas, and everybody worked there. So I was like, well, that's not accurate. That's nowhere near accurate,
It's true. I heard something the other day that Nebraska was number 5 in ratings for TV. Nebraska, number 5. Pretty big.
Yeah.
For college.
I mean, the thing is, so I live near St. Louis, but St. Louis doesn't have a college team. They have St. Louis University, but that's more basketball and soccer. But I've kind of stuck in between Mizzou and Illinois, and downstate. I always said that the reason I was so easy to mold when I got to Chadron 20 years ago is because nobody downstate really cares about the Illini, and I wasn't far enough in, close enough or into Missouri to care about the Tigers. So I was pretty malleable, and again, they brought me on. I can't say I was a bandwagon jumper because I officially, I guess, became a fan in when it was not cool or fun to be a Husker.
Wow.
The highs were behind us at that point. So
we kept hoping though.
Yeah, it was. I met and interviewed Bill Callahan.
Oh my gosh!
Husker. Someone in the Chatterfield comment section might be able to help. It was like a Husker caravan or something like that. He came out. I think it was Jim Rose at the time. Came out all the way out to Chadron, and I asked him point blank because there was a kid from 40 minutes away in state who signed a scholarship on signing day to play at Iowa State. Now this is still the Big 12 days, and I asked him. I said, "What's the plan to keep in-state guys from going to other schools?" And I don't remember. He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna go for the best kids," something like that. So,
so cool.
So it was just. There's a picture somewhere out there. I probably got it 3x5 or something like that of me holding a old-fashioned microphone up to Bill Callahan's face.
Oh, that is so cool.
And I just
It's
remember
part of history.
It's not the history that anybody wants to remember.
It will be. When we're winning again, everyone will be like, remember when we were so bad all those years?
Well, it's a serious question now that, I hadn't thought about this. We, last year, or I should say last year was still 2023, but this past football season, we welcomed back Frank Solich for the first time, and it helped that he had retired from Ohio. So, the timing was right. And there has been, since his demise, I suppose, just over a year ago, like, can Scott Frost ever come back? But it makes you wonder, is there ever going to be a time when like Bill Callahan's going to come back for not so much an alumni, but hey, it's been 20 years or 25 years. I mean, it's already going to be 20 years very soon, but 25 years since you were here, or Bo Pelini Appreciation Day, or so I don't know.
If anyone can make it happen, it's Matt Rhule. I mean, he seems to want to bring the whole family together and let's all just hug it out. He'll bring. Watch.
A great mender of fences, you think?
He is. I think he strives for that.
Mm-hmm. And I don't disagree. There's something about his personality that just, he's very, and I don't mean this in like any negative or derogatory, but or cynical. But to me, Matt Rhule is very much a can't we all just get along type of guy. Can't we all just get along and win some football by God? So
I'm just imagining that. I can't get the image of him out of my head with those wonderful pep talks. What is it? My favorite one is if we die, we die. I mean, I actually play that for my daughters when they're going to their cheer competitions, when they're going to their soccer games, because it gets them hyped up. How can it not?
By the way, Roger Moore with Ambassador Rhule, which I don't disagree. That's a great great title. And Fred says, I don't think we'll ever see Billy C or Bo Appreciation Day. Those guys aren't tied to Nebraska like Frank was. Two aloof pricks.
Wow.
But Minnie, are you familiar with what I call, and right or wrong for the last 15 or more years, called the Husker prayer?
No. What is it?
So they're old, like, locker room videos, and I think.
Oh yes, I have. Yes, where the guys always pray it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. They pray it every year.
Right, and some captain or some leader steps up and is that leadership. That's a great hype, moment.
It's true.
That
you just gave me goosebumps. That is true. That is amazing.
That would be a great one to play for the girls on the way to soccer and cheer.
I love that.
Aaron gets
Get them all hyped up. Day by day. Yes.
I when I hear that, I want to run through a brick wall. Like, whatever you say.
Yeah.
I think one of the first ones that I remember hearing might have been like Prince of Mukamara was leading it, something like that, or just one of those guys who we don't hear enough of anymore. Like, not to say that we've forgotten. It's just, time. They were great when they were here, and even Prince didn't have a bad NFL career. But it's just.
Ooh.
What?
Sorry. I'm sorry. But the chat does this. They interrupt while we're talking.
They do.
Roger Moore said, I cannot wait until CU tries to walk on the end next year.
Might have 70,000 people coming out of the stands to
Can
push
you
them back.
even? What?
That would get ugly in a hurry, I feel. We're a pretty, I don't want to say docile, but pretty subdued fan base until until we start feeling offended, and then it's all fair game.
It's true. It's true.
Fred Sacco says, "I love when Prince did when doves cry before a game." That's a different Prince, Fred. And Aaron's here and says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening, Aaron. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Fred following up or piggybacking on Roger's comments. Fred says, if they try to walk on the end, I think Deion's last toes will leave him in the dust. Aaron found the word I was looking for. Aaron Ken, that is. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We are reserved. Yeah, not docile, reserved.
We are a reserved fan base. We have class. That's why.
Although
other fan bases may not. In particular, the ones that are in and around Colorado.
Boulder area, yeah.
Boulder area.
I do feel like we lose a little bit of class when we say that we got class.
Okay, but it's just us.
It's hashtag humble brag. Aaron Rostovsky, we got to differentiate now. We got more than one Aaron. Says Rhule seems to always have a different homegrown Nebraska kid do the prayer on the videos we saw of the pregame.
I love it. I love it.
And Aaron 2, no offense to Aaron, says, I live in Colorado and it is unbearable.
It's unbearable.
So we've established that overall Colorado is just horrible. Beautiful state. Visit and
gorgeous.
Leave. Don't beautiful spend a whole lot of money.
Yes.
Skiing?
Oh yeah.
I'd break an ankle.
Oh, gorgeous skiing.
I've heard of a magical land since you live in Arizona.
Yes.
I've heard of a magical land in Arizona where you can ski, and it's like an hour and a half or so from like what my buddy Josh and I used to always say is, man, we need to move or retire something in this community in Arizona called Prescott, because
that's where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's odd.
Very.
But as we got to talk, it's like it's an hour and a half from the mountains. It's like an hour and a half from a beach of some sort. It's not an
hour and a half from a beach.
Okay.
But 4.5 hours.
That's a lot. That's a lot longer than an hour and a half.
It is. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think Prescott was named like one of the top places to live back in the 80s and 90s because it had, all four seasons and it was kind of small town. Like, I mean, that's another reason why I love Lincoln so much. Lincoln is like this preserved part of America. Like when you go there, it's just like, it's like apple pie. It's so wonderful. It's just like what I grew up with in Prescott. So
I've been saying it wrong apparently all these years too. I thought it was Prescott.
That's how we know that you're not from there.
So now that I know, I can walk around and be like, Prescott's pretty nice. They're like, hey, you're a local. Like somebody smarter than me.
Yep.
There you go. Brian says you can find sand an hour from Prescott, just no ocean. Well played. And Fred's giving me the business. Says, geez, Greg, are you applying to move the chains in Arizona? I am not.
It's supposed to be fun. I love high school football games. I live right near a high school, and I love I'm not nothing weird. Okay.
Are you allowed? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, unfortunately, the school I live close to is not very good. But I love the Friday nights, with the lights and the kids and the parents. And it's just so great.
It was, and I've shared the story, but that's how I got into radio. I got into Shattern. Somebody mentioned Shattern here because the Ralphie from Colorado, the Bison is from Shattern and is homesick, which is great. Roger, thank you for that. But I got less than 2 weeks from getting into Chadron. I was driving to Torrington, Wyoming to do my first high school football broadcast. And for me, there's nothing.
Where's that? What's that close to?
What, Chadron or Torrington?
Torrington.
Nothing.
Okay.
I
mean, that's pretty much Wyoming. So yeah.
Let's see here. There's a Holiday Inn Express. Does that? I mean,
I think they have more than one Holiday Inn Express in Wyoming.
You'd be surprised. It's not too far from the border, honestly. It's a lot closer to Scottsbluff than it is to anything worthwhile in Wyoming, which is saying something because there's not a whole lot that's worthwhile in Wyoming. So, but from that was by far my favorite part of my time in radio was Friday night football games, or if I was fortunate enough, some afternoon playoff games, something like that. So I understand what you're saying. So,
it's so fun.
I have really great memories. So I actually live now in the city where I was born, and there's 3 high schools. There's Belleville East, Belleville West, and Althoff Catholic. And my dad went to Belleville West more years ago than he'd want me to say on the internet. So sometimes we'd come out to like the big East-West rivalry game at, I got great memories of some of that. Of course, when you're 8, 9, 10 years old, the high school kids look like monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Now at my age, they, a couple of them still are pretty good size, but they look like kids. Like they haven't shaved yet. So, why am I picking on Wyoming?
I know. Wyoming is cool.
Wyoming's beautiful. And Wyoming has a ton of money. So, just a ton as a state. Yep. Holiday Inn and Casey's Pizza. I don't know if Casey's Pizza is all the way out in Wyoming. Fred, that'd be an interesting one. But, so we have done a great job of killing time so far, Minnie.
I know. We haven't got very far.
We haven't, but that's all right. Let's see here. Moonbot7 says Saratoga, Wyoming's amazing. Plus, one of my favorite authors is from there and writes the Joe Pickett novels based out of there. Excellent. Ooh. I don't know what those novels are, Minnie. Like, I pride myself on reading a little bit, but speaking of books, everybody, have you heard about this book here by John Johnston? I don't know if you're familiar with him, but the book is called "Been Dead, Never Been to Europe," and you can get it on Amazon. And it tells all about the happenings around his Widowmaker heart attack and the recovery. And it's really a terrific read. And you'll be supporting someone you know and love. So go check out.
I've always wondered about that book. I haven't read it yet. Mm-hmm. Is the title based off of a Three Dog Night song?
I don't.
The one that says, "I've never been to Spain, but I've been to Oklahoma."
No, I think what it is he was lamenting the fact that he died.
Okay.
Before he'd ever been to Europe. So.
Okay.
Justin says we need to send John to Europe. I can't afford that. I can't afford to send myself to Europe. Fred says the best high school football memory watching Retzloff drill 45-yard field goal in a driving snowstorm to beat my team. I cheered and cheered, and our fans threw snowballs at me. That's not. Branson Chab for $4.99. A super chat says Colorado definitely has some wild people, but not all of us are like that. There are plenty of fantastic buffs who are pleasantly passionate.
There are. I absolutely know that there are. But you're just so outnumbered.
You need to spread the word then that you can be pleasantly passionate and not throw bags of urine on people. Sorry, Brent. What is a John Johnston? Aaron wants to know, and Minnie, I think it'd be best suited if you answered that question. What is a John Johnston?
What is a John Johnston? He is our wonderful co-host who's not here, who shared the screen with Santa last week. And he's known for a couple of bathroom videos, as well as the catchphrase, there is no hope. What does it say? There is no
What
hope.
is it?
F everything. Go Big Red. And we're trying to get him to change it. So
Because
maybe
there
we
is
can
hope.
maybe we can come up with a new catchphrase tonight for John.
That'd be fun. I'm gonna save that one. That's a good one. I have so far 2, now 1 starred comment because everything's just going so well. Fred says, John Johnston is what you get when you combine Rick Sanchez and the dirty writing on Sidetrack's bathroom wall. And Brian Bauer says John probably uses a bidet and covers his shower needs with that. Lord. Brian coming, swinging hard on when John's not here to laugh at himself.
Yeah, poor John.
So one of the ideas that I had, since last week we did Christmas wish list for our beloved Nebraska Huskers,
Yes.
across the board in any sport, I thought this year, what if we did some personal like resolutions that are strictly related to Nebraska sports? For example, like maybe not wishing injury on the starting quarterback so that we can have him removed politely and seeing a backup type of thing.
Do we really?
I mean, there are a lot of people who were in a manner of
I just don't think that that's realistic for a fan. I mean, you kind of want nobody to really get hurt too bad. You just don't want them,
playing
to have
anymore.
a great week, to have a great week, or to be able to play for some strange reason. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm starring a lot of comments here. There we go. Fred says my Huskers' New Year's resolution is to throw 20% less chairs next fall.
I like Melissa's catchphrase. 927.
Oh, I think I got it. For John?
Yes.
Yes.
He needs to like do this. Isn't that like where they put their hand in their robe like that?
No, so I think Napoleon Bonaparte used to like put his hand in his shirt or like an inner pocket inside his jacket or something. I don't know.
I'm not saying John's like Napoleon Bonaparte, but I think that would be really funny. Across his heart.
Okay. His 5 heart. And because Aaron says the poor John, he's going to come to the next stream of obscenities blazing. But you're right. In order to describe John, you can't describe John without mentioning the robe. So thank you, Melissa. And we already mentioned that before. That was an accidental one. Branson says it's too bad John isn't here to talk about the Circle Jerks and his other favorite bands. Somebody was paying attention. We've had a wild couple of weeks with John and his rants and his selective wording.
His moist jerky.
That's right. Which, by the way, as I mentioned, I did bring for Christmas my nephew the 8 packs of the pipeline jerky, and despite the fact that we had just eaten moments before getting into presents, like my brother-in-law and my nephew tore into some of that honey barbecue pork jerky. And really enjoyed it. I was like, I did something right. So
good going.
Let's see. Fred says our former head coach screen name on Tinder was Napoleon Bonaparte. And Aaron says John is like Napoleon Dynamite, though. I don't know about that. That kid was awkward. John, I think, has his stuff together.
He does.
So Fred's vowing to throw 20% less chairs. Minnie, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Pretty much. Is there something that you
I
will work towards?
I will try not to dissect every play. No, that's not something I can work towards. I watch the games the first time, and it's like while I'm watching, usually I'm at home. While I'm watching at home, I am so nervous. I can't sit still. So I get up and I start cleaning the room that I'm in. It's ridiculous. And like it's so bad because I have so much anxiety. I think it's normal, right? We all get anxiety while we're watching. And then so I watch it again usually that same night unless it was a horrible loss. Then I try and sleep it off and then watch it the next day. But then I'll watch it the next day and the next day to dissect it. In fact, I really wanted to ask people, especially our Chatterfield here, what kind of television do you guys watch the games on? Because mine drives me crazy. When I pause it, there's so much stuff that comes up on the screen that I can't figure out. Thank you. Yes.
Moonbot 7 is 100% the same. Just start walking around and pretending to clean.
There you go. It's the only thing I can think of to do.
Meanwhile, Fred says Minnie will vow to not sign up for any more officiating crews. Learned her lesson.
At least I won't tell you guys about it.
I mean, really, honesty is the best policy around here. It all comes out. TFT's checking in, says, where's that Santa Claus guy? He owes me for the running back and wide receiver. Since he's mentioning it, and since we talked about it a little in our show prep, everybody, get off our backs about that. Minnie has some encouraging news.
Right. We have a 4-star wide receiver from Oregon coming January 5th. Right? Dante Dowdell.
Running back.
Oh, running back. Thank you. Then we also have, there he is. So he spent his first year at Oregon and didn't see a whole lot of playing time. But so he's looking to transfer because I think they have 2 returning running backs there. He's 6'2" and like 205 pounds.
So if I may, you're right. Former 4-star, spent 1 season in Eugene, had 17 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown, 6'2", 215, like you said, with 3 years eligibility remaining, and he was a top 10 running back in the class of 23. So,
yeah, that's pretty good. And then we also have a wide receiver from Wake Forest, as Fred pointed out. Jamal Banks is his name, I believe.
Yes.
Right? Does he have 2 years left to play?
Trying to determine that exactly.
Melissa's from Wake. My niece just graduated from Wake Forest. Yay!
There we go. I couldn't. Too much going on at once. Yes, Fred, the Wake Forest wide receiver. And I'm trying to figure out, in his first 2 seasons, so he's played 3 years, I believe.
Okay. But he started in 2020, right?
I'm trying to find it. 2 seasons to play 1.
Okay.
So, played 44 career games. This year alone, he had 59 catches for 653 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He has already visited Minnesota, Notre Dame, and Purdue, and is also visiting Michigan in January. So,
wow.
And I didn't see this. I'm not surprised, but I didn't see that Marcus Washington announced he's entering the draft.
Oh, yeah. I kind of assumed he would
after the injury in Illinois. So,
yeah.
And Melissa here is mentioning the quarterback from Blair. That is Bodie Sukup, who is going to walk on 2024. So, not a scholarship but will walk on.
And they're with the walk-ons. They're basically kind of giving them financial incentives.
In the
Anyways.
21st century, anything's possible. So Roger Moore says Heinrich Harburg will be starting in what position next year? I don't know if he's going to be starting, but I know he's going to be in the quarterback room. And he had this to say, courtesy of, I believe, Brian Christofferson, said, I don't have the exact audio to listen, but says, I'm glad both of them are coming in, meaning Kalen and Rhule. Now it's 3 scholarship quarterbacks. 2 of them are freshmen. I'm the old head, which is funny. Shoot, I can't even go on O Street. I'm not 21 yet. So,
is he not the best?
I think the kid's all class. I really do.
He is.
Now, Fred says that Washington going to the draft is misguided. I don't know. I wouldn't. We weren't in the room where it happened, so to speak, right? I mean, isn't that the song? But you almost have to think, could he have? I think there was more meat on the bone for him at Nebraska. I really do, and especially after the injury that he had early in this season. It'd been nice to see what he could do with more stability at quarterback position, I suppose. Be it Harburg or realistically, Dylan Rhule coming in. So I don't know. Maybe he also saw we got Jalen Lloyd, Malachi Coleman, ICG or IGC, whichever. Maybe the numbers just weren't on his side. I don't know.
Marcus Washington was a senior, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I don't know if he had any eligibility left.
Fred says injury prone in college and not much production. What will he do in the NFL? Make a practice squad, then get cut. Okay. I see what you're saying. So I mean, what's he going to do? Say, all right, there goes my dream. And I'm just, there's always the XFL. Well, and I say that tongue in cheek, but guys, XFL guys are getting signed left and right these late in the year. I'm a St. Louis Battlehawks fan, and some Battlehawks guys are getting signed by Seattle, Pittsburgh. I mean, I follow them on social media or follow the team on Facebook. So it's like there's another one, So teams are looking for somebody to step in late in the season when other guys are worn down or hurt, and they need roster numbers. So why not, take a shot? DeMornay Pearson-El back in the other iteration of the XFL back in 2020 was in St. Louis. I mean, you gotta take whatever opportunities you want if you want to keep trying to play football. I guess what I'm saying.
Didn't Adrian Martinez go into the XFL too?
I think he got signed to the USFL, I believe.
Okay.
So let's see. MK, great question here. How are we looking at long snapper? Always taken for granted until there's a problem. I think we'll find one.
Only Nebraska fans worry about the long snapper.
Yeah. But again, it's I've said this I think last week. It's if you're a good, consistent long snapper, you can turn that into a mighty good long NFL career. So yeah, I am Bat Dad correct. USFL and XFL are merging. Amart to the USFL, a team in Alabama. I think it's Birmingham, maybe. I'm not. Don't hold me to that. So.
I wish them all the luck. I love seeing our players that have been committed to Nebraska declare for the NFL and just go for it. We wish them all the best.
We were talking when one of our newbies asked what a John Johnston is, and you mentioned famous for a slogan. Monica's here tonight and says that John has a new shirt for the store, and that is that Saturdays are for hope and resilience. So
very nice.
Check that out at Cobby Corn. Let me see if there's a fun. There we go. merch at cobbycorn.com. I don't know about any discounts this week, but I wish I could be like, use promo code Minnie and get 15% off, but I don't think that's how that works.
Everything's free on the site.
Time out now.
Kidding.
How's John going to make money? All right, sorry. Aaron's not a newbie. I just figured if you're going to ask what a John Johnston is, then, Fred says he's sticking with the All Hope Is Gone shirt. Melissa wants to know how many guys are getting drafted from Nebraska.
Didn't JoJo Doman just get pulled up? I know. I just read something about JoJo Doman just this past week. Does anyone know?
I'm looking it up right now. They released him, but that was September. Wait, that was September. Signed by the Titans 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, there you go.
To the practice squad. So maybe now.
And then he got moved up, right? Like he's starting.
The most recent that I'm seeing is that he was signed, but that was 3 weeks ago. I'll take your word for it because, I mean, you got your thumb on the pulse of this a little bit more so than I do.
Just because I read it doesn't necessarily mean it.
I don't think that's how the internet works. So, Ian says he did.
Thank you, Ian.
Aaron accused me of not recognizing sarcasm. I'm like, it's in text. What do you expect me to do? If you would say to me verbally, "Who's that John Johnston guy?" I'd be able to, read.
But you do get Fred's sarcasm.
Fred's been around. Like Fred's a long-term commenter.
The reason why is because when Fred says something serious, he actually has to preface it with seriously, and then what he has to say.
Right. And the biggest trap that I fall into with Fred is that he will start a 3 or 4 line comment and it looks legit. And then on the back end, it just falls apart into his typical nonsense, which is great.
Yeah.
Fred says, I used to be a Nicolas Cage fan. Enough said.
Yeah.
I'm still a Nicolas Cage fan.
You did admit that.
So,
okay, so yeah, we have Omar Brown, Quentin Newsome, and Grant.
Anthony
Grant. Yep. So we know that they've all declared, right? Or has Grant?
I think he had. I mean, I don't know if he had to, but I think he was out of eligibility too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I need John.
I know. You're doing a lot.
I'm trying so hard. Let's see. Yeah, NFL. There we go. Yeah. 5 days ago, he declared. Anthony Grant did. So, all right.
Good for him.
Aaron, thank you.
I am Bat Dad. For them to...
Right. Let the Chatterfields do the work for me, by God. I am Bat Dad says still a Nick Cage fan. Dude's a legend. Leaving Lincoln, starring Nicolas Cage. Are you familiar with the Jim Carrey movie Yes Man?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The first time I watched it, I was so surprised to see that they were in Lincoln during a football game.
What?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
No.
In the movie Yes Man.
Are you serious? I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
So there's no. For those of you who don't know, the movie is about. He's kind of a horse's ass. Jim Carrey's character is, and he goes to. I don't know if it's not like a who's the big pronounced jawline motivational speaker, like Tony something.
Oh yeah, Tony Robinson.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't know if it's that guy or, it's like, you got to stop being a no man and being
No,
a yes
it
man.
is. Yeah, that's who it is.
And so he does. So basically, everything anybody asks him, he's like, "Yeah, okay, let's go." And somebody said, "Well, let's." I think it might have been his like in story love interest, Zoe Deschanel. Like, let's just go on a flight. Like, let's go on a trip. And so, where do you want to go? First one that pops up, and it was Lincoln. All right, what are we doing, Lincoln? They went to like the communication museum or something like that, and they went to a Nebraska football game.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't see that.
So now I have to go back and watch it with a different lens. And then I also remember, now James, I don't know, that can't be real. I feel like that's an awful lot of work to not, to make that happen. James Boardman says Jim Carrey wasn't there; it was a green screen, but the crew was here to film game day.
Well, if he wasn't in Lincoln, he missed out.
Yeah, that's his own fault.
Oh, I'm going to say.
Because now I'm trying to think. Tommy Lee did the reality show in Lincoln 20-something years ago. Remember that? Where he was a member of the marching Huskers, the Nebraska marching band?
No. Tommy Lee Jones?
No, Tommy Lee, the drummer of Motley Crue.
Oh, okay. He did a what?
Tommy Lee Goes to College. and it debuted August 16th, 2005, where he goes enrolls at UNL, and then attempts to join the marching band. They find out that like early mornings obviously are not great for Tommy Lee, and he didn't quite have the chops for it. But
that's hilarious. I wonder what his ties are to Lincoln. Maybe.
I think it's one of those like culture shock things, right? Like, you just take somebody that's just out of their element,
put them right in the middle of the Midwest,
right? Flyover country or whatever. So, let's see. I Am Bat Dad says I saw Tommy Lee drum at halftime. There are like, if you do a Google image search, you can find like he's in, the full garb. And I Am Bat Dad says it was against Baylor, pretty sure.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can't believe you guys know all this stuff. This is so awesome.
Aaron says Tommy Lee was not good at marching band. I don't doubt that. And James Boardman says Tommy Lee was here. It wasn't green screen, unlike Jim Carrey. Film crew was here. Perlman was an ass. So I do remember Perlman being very Perlman-esque in that show. So, and then Fred's yelling at James, telling him not to wreck my story. What's next? There's no Santa. Like, dude, my son is still up. I can't read all these comments out loud.
Can't say that.
Jeez. All right. So we've talked about the two transfer portal, running back and receiver who are making the treks to Lincoln here in the next few weeks to check out the school. Look, top. I don't care that Dante Dowdle only has 17 carries, in his college career. That is a frame that can be.
He was a freshman. He was a freshman.
And again, not a ton of opportunity, but also the reason he's leaving, I'm pretty sure, is because he sees how busy that running back room is.
You're right. Now, you're right.
What I like though is that he's coming to a room that's going to have a lot of competition. We have Emma Johnson, Gabe Irvin Jr. Yes. I think Vermeer Johnson still has eligibility. God bless the kid. So I'm just taking all these, one step at a time. Kind of like signing day. First they have to sign. Now they have to actually show up on campus.
Melissa's a diehard. Look at her. She's like, they wasted his freshman year. Yeah, because I think he only played in 1 game. 2 games? No, he had to play in more than 4, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
Let's see. Fred says Perlman was a green screen. Easter Bunny's fake. Stop it, guys. Next thing, no, I'm not gonna say that.
17 plays, yeah.
Fred says next thing we'll know, WWF is fixed. That's not even. I like I Am Bad Dad getting us back on topic here. If he can stay healthy, running back should be fine this next season. that has been our Achilles heel. I feel bad saying that because I'm pretty sure we've had some Achilles injuries.
I know.
But
we need to stay healthy.
We do. And I'd really like our quarterback to stay healthy, especially knowing who it's most likely to be. I know John made this comment, and you were right there last week as well, Minnie, is that, hey, we have 2 Elite 11 quarterbacks. When's the last time that happened?
I know. We are so fortunate. And these guys are bright. They're so quick. They're both leaders. I'm really excited about them.
And they're leaders because of the way their contemporaries, their peers rally around them. Like Danny Kaelin was doing a lot of that peer-to-peer recruiting, and Dylan Rhule, I don't know if he's going to pull anybody into his orbit, to Lincoln, but you just get the feeling that these kids are, I don't know, like they're built a little bit different. I don't know if that's a comment that you're reacting to. I'm not looking at it. I'm blocking it.
It's Fred's last comment.
All right, we'll get there. But I'm trying to get this thought out. They just, you like, even if it's all for show, right? If it's all for show, it's a hell of an act.
Oh no, there's no way it could be.
I think that's that's the impression that a lot of Nebraska fans got when Dylan Rhule was out. Was it basketball last year or baseball, something like that? And
it was his basketball game.
Chen, go big red, and all that stuff. And then he commits to Georgia.
He threw the bones.
Yeah,
but you know what? I think if anything, he helped. He even just doing that, he helped with recruiting. He helped, keep Nebraska important and on the map. I mean, he's a big name in football.
All right, I found it. All right, I saw the comment, Fred. There's a toe fairy in Boulder. He steals toes off of assholes.
And so many people wanted that guy to be our head coach. Could you imagine?
That would have never worked.
I mean, wow.
James Boardman says Bill Callahan wasn't real either. Never saw him around town. Let's see. I am Bat Dad says if Dylan lost 2 games at Georgia, he'd be booed off the field. Win 8 games at Nebraska, and he'll be remembered forever.
Forever. We will put a statue of him.
Not for 8 games.
I mean,
but I know what you're saying. What I do think is, I'm not saying that Georgia's trending down, like that Georgia's peaked and that they're going to fall. Obviously, they're not in the playoff this year, so they're not where they would like to be.
Right.
I do think that Nebraska's trending up. I think Nebraska's trajectory is upward. And
for sure.
I think that Matt Rhule's the guy. And if we can keep Tony White around as long as possible, if we can have the young defensive linemen continue to learn under, the veteran line, which is crazy because like the Cam Linharts didn't see much, field, or obviously he's a freshman. But like Nash Hutmacher didn't see much of the field before this year,
right.
Because the previous coaching staff brought him in, didn't develop him, didn't have a lot of faith in him. Same with Heinrich Harburg. You can say what you want about him, but and Haas would say this kind of a lot on our coordination overreaction show, is that Mark Whipple didn't see enough value in Heinrich Harburg. He didn't even dress him, for the Iowa road game or something like that, So we don't say the Mark Whipple name too often on that show. And when we do, it's never in good.
He just, I think he sold us all a bit. He made us all believe that he was going to change Nebraska's offense, and we were going to just be amazing. He made us believe that. And then to see that this year, how athletic Heinrich Harburg is, and he wasn't even traveling with the team last year. They didn't even want him in meetings. I still can't get over that.
I'm not going to reply to you, Fred and James. You guys know what I meant. Come on now. Aaron with the right heart, really. Says, if you haven't hit the like button, smash that bad boy. We appreciate it. So, yeah, Melissa's not wrong. There were times where I mean, we were like, look, going back to the Minnesota game, he wasn't a quarterback at that point. It wasn't until we kind of got to almost emergency mode, right? When we lost Jeff Sims, that he came in and for the amount of, I don't know, like development he got, I think he performed really admirably. That's why I'm not super down on Heinrich Haarberg. I just know he's got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to, compete for that starting spot. So
I agree.
Let's see here. I've got some starred comments. Aaron wants to know, how are we looking at wide receiver? Major upgrades?
Yeah. I mean, we obviously have a young wide receiver room, and we definitely need some. It would be nice to get some seasoned players in there, one or two. So yeah,
we get like that Jamal Banks from Wake Forest. That
would be good.
That'd be a nice one. And again, big body receiver.
We're already 10 over. We're already 10 over, right?
Our scholarship limit?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. There's gonna be a lot of roster management, and we saw, I think very little attrition, so far since the end of the season. But I think that's going to change from April to June, I guess. Let's see. I don't think there's any news on the quarterback coach yet, just because any potential targets I think are still coaching in the NFL. Is my understanding on that, Melissa. Minnie, any thoughts on
No.
that? Sweet.
No, I'm wondering the same exact thing, Melissa. We all are, actually, right? That was like the number one thing, I think, besides getting, a quarterback recruit. That was the number one thing that Husker fans were concerned about at the end of the season. And Mark Rhule addressed it in one of his press conferences. So I think they're definitely going to, Mark, you know who I meant, Matt Rhule.
Say, if I'm going to get torched for it, though,
I was thinking of Marcus Chatterfield at the same time. Sorry.
All right. That's fine.
I morphed them.
Let's see here.
Now they're one, Mark.
I know, since the last time we got together, Vince Watson, who says, I know you and Vince always get along, in the comments, said, has Sims left yet? Hope he's not the backup plan for experienced quarterback. Roger says Sims is gone. But that's not the only one we lost. I mean, Chubba Purdy did enter the portal in the past week, too. So, really, it's Heinrich Haarberg and two freshmen. So, now, granted, one of those freshmen may be generational talent, but they still haven't taken the snap at the collegiate level yet. So, if the starter next, September, late August, whatever, is Heinrich Haarberg for a game or for a half, I don't know. I don't know the plan. Let's get him in and get him coached up as quick as we can. So,
yes. I mean, I always liked how Heinrich Haarberg was open to switching positions too. Yeah. He's like, I don't care, just play me.
I think he just wants to be a Husker,
Yeah. Well, I want to be a Husker.
But that's that's the thing. It's if you can't, what is it? If you can't be with the one you love, then love the one you're with, type of thing. Or you got to dance with the date you brought. There's some idiom like that.
Date you brought.
I can't remember what it was. And I never had a date, so it didn't really affect me. But I want guys in Lincoln who want to be in Lincoln. If you think the grass is greener someplace else, I don't care who you are.
I'm so glad that Matt Rhule's of the mind of we're not taking very many, if any, of these, 1-year players. How can you call yourself a Husker if you're only here for 1 year?
No, hold on.
And I don't mean to offend anybody who's played for just 1 year. It's hard. We as fans, we get into everything about the players. So it's nice to have them around for more than that.
I
And to be developed.
I'm reading quickly. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
I think I guess maybe we had Levante David for 2 years. Back, gosh, hard to believe that was almost 13 years ago because he transferred. Well, it was he transferred in 2010. It's almost 14 years ago to Nebraska. Levante David might be. I mean, he's top 5 again. I could go back and cherry pick Nebraska greats, but the time that I've been a fan, Levante David's top 5 Husker for me. But he was here for 2 years. Some of the best have been here for 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe if there's a one and done who came in, from a transfer portal and was like that missing piece, like they said, all we needed was a quarterback. If there was that one guy who came in and helped us to a national championship, maybe you could call him a Husker forever.
Yes. Well, and then Melissa just said, like the wide receiver from last year. So Trey Palmer.
Yes.
And he helped a ton.
Which is, I wish we had him for this year, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Now, here's the thing. I think this might be biased or with blinders on. If you're at Nebraska for 3 years, regardless of your career or any school, and then you go someplace else to finish out your collegiate career, then you're that. I don't think you can call yourself a Husker if you're leaving Nebraska to go to the NFL, or if you're leaving, you're stepping away from football altogether. Mm-hmm. I think Blaise Gunnerson comes to mind.
Yes.
Then you're a Husker. But if you're going to another school for whatever reason, I don't think you get to call yourself a Husker for life anymore. So,
even if it's because you don't get to play, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
That's the worst reason. Like, better yourself. There used to be a time when you had to compete and earn things. So, thank you, Melissa, for agreeing.
True.
MK says, Greg, did you see the Creighton volleyball coach's thread on tampering? I did. Did you see that, Minnie?
No. What?
So, the volleyball coach for Creighton University had just left the U.S. volleyball coaches conference or convention or whatever it was. Excuse me. And came away with this 10 to 15 tweet or extra whatever long thread on there are a lot of ills in volleyball right now, but the biggest ill of all is in Division I, and it's with tampering with players and how, maybe the coach isn't talking to it, but they're getting the players to talk to other players from other schools. And it's,
wow.
I don't know how rampant that actually is. I don't know if there's sour grapes involved on that. It's also Creighton, so I don't care about any sour grapes from Creighton. And that's coming from a Catholic, but
it just feels like the rules are just kind of like a recommendation.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, I'd be shocked to find out if Nebraska's breaking rules because I feel like our coaches have such, high standards. But I feel like it is running rampant because they don't really have, if they were, like, here's a for instance, Michigan's playing in a bowl game. Sorry, I just don't know how that's fair.
And their head coach is under other investigations currently.
Right?
So that has nothing to do with sign stealing. So James Boardman, by the way, this for the benefit of you, if you're just listening to this, and if you are listening to this and you're not joining us live, you are missing out. But James says Texas with the $ volleyball is the best team that money could buy. So don't disagree with that, James. And they're only getting better. Like, we used to talk back in, like, when I was in Chatham, for example, and I'd talk to some of these coaches in the area. I was like, "You're not rebuilding, coach. I think you're reloading." And that's what Texas is doing.
That's exactly what they're doing.
They're replacing, and it's one of those, the Creighton coach, and I can't remember her name, so I apologize to her, I suppose. But she said, if the team is in need of a setter, then they're using, like players to go out and, or they're talking to like high school and UAA coaches, I think is the, amateur federation or whatever. And saying, hey, you got a good setter? What do you think? That I don't know. I didn't understand all of it. I did read it. But I am Bat Dad says, for the first time ever, I'm rooting for Alabama. If sign stealing thing never happened, I'd be rooting for Michigan.
Same exact feeling.
Fred corrects me that it's AAU, not whatever I said. So maybe I'm thinking of USAA, whatever. So you know what? As far as the college football playoff goes, since I hope that 3 out of the 4 teams get malaria, I guess I'll go for Washington, and I don't care for Washington either. But it's a Big Ten team, because you know that if Texas wins, SEC would be like, SEC team, yeah.
I know.
Back to volleyball, MK says, thought Booth laid out some concerns all sports are going to have to deal with or risk shrinking audiences. So
okay. I did not see that, but I did see Pat McAfee last week. He had Chip Kelly, the football coach for
UCLA, I believe.
UCLA, yeah. And he was awesome. His ideas for, the NCAA kind of revamping things makes perfect sense.
I've seen Chip Kelly quotes on that in the past about how, make football not so much like conference-less, but separate it, in a way that much like Notre Dame. Notre Dame has the ability to schedule whoever it wants for football, because it's not in a conference, and then in basketball it is. So for football, just remove the conferences altogether, and I don't know. I like the idea.
Perfect sense.
I really like the idea of like a super conference of like 32, 64 teams, something like that. Your Power Fives, but then like your crappier Power 5 teams get relegated down to Group of 5, and your better Group of 5 teams can get promoted like they do in Premier football in English soccer leagues. So
yeah,
let's see.
No, and to separate football from the universities makes perfect sense. It just does.
I mean, it's Go ahead, Minnie.
I was just going to say, some of the rules that apply should not apply to all the sports. So, like, for instance, he said, we have this rivalry. Who is it with? Arizona? That Probably. They have a rivalry with for softball. Mm-hmm. And now they're not going to be in the same, because they're moving into the Big Ten. They're not going to be in the same division. So it's like, oh my gosh. I bet your softball coach is really pissed off at you guys.
Well, I think my problem with that is that you can always schedule that non-conference, especially in the Southwest like that, where, I mean, that's where Nebraska plays a lot of its early softball and baseball is in the South and Southwest, California, Arizona, making the loop. Like, you can always schedule those games. I think what chaps me a little bit is when Missouri went from the Big 12 to the SEC, you lost the border war. You lost Kansas, Missouri, which had been going on for 100 years at that point. Right. You could still find time. Like in men's basketball, Missouri and Illinois have the bragging rights game that's been going on since I've been, knee high, whatever the hell that phrase is, not by the 4th of July, Fred. But like they always play that like a few days before Christmas. I think it was actually a week ago tonight that they play bragging rights, and it's always in St. Louis. It's neutral site. It's well attended from both teams. You could do border war Kansas, Missouri at Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium. I mean, like there are ways to make some of these things happen. I just don't know if there's the flexibility or the interest from the athletic departments. So
that's thinking.
Aaron says sarcasm here, although contextually I could pick this one up. You mentioned English soccer, which I love, and somewhere John cursed out loud. John actually loves soccer. John coached soccer, coached his kids in soccer. All through their youth. He actually loves soccer, or everywhere else they call it football. Let's see. As far as, Nebraska, the super conferences and relegation and promotion, I am Bat Dad says we'd be group of 5. I don't disagree. Fred says, God, don't get us relegated to the Sun Belt. John will make 5 new shirts right in his but it's fun because it always changes up those matchups. So let's see. Vince says FSU wins, Michigan wins. It's all stripped for cheating.
Yes.
Then FSU can claim the championship to really F up the system.
That's perfect.
Let's see. Melissa says we would not be group 5 because of our girls sports. In this instance, I am only talking football, but I understand. Yeah, our women's sports would definitely, as they have been, they'd be carrying the university. I mean, not financially. Football is always going to be that, but volleyball certainly holds its own.
So, real quick, just speaking of women's sports.
No, we don't do that on the show. I'm kidding.
Just real quick.
I'm just kidding.
Gillen Riola has a sister, and she plays volleyball.
Somewhat.
She's graduated. She does. She plays volleyball at TCU.
Sure she does.
Well, now she's in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, are we going to get all the Rayolas to Nebraska? Is that a possibility? Has anyone thought about that?
What are her stats like?
She actually is not bad. She's not bad. You're the looker upper. Sorry. I pass that off to you.
What is her first name?
Taylor Rayola.
I got it. I'm on it, right? I like how it says on Google, it says Taylor Raiola volleyball. Taylor Raiola. Dylan Raiola's. It says brother, but we know it's wrong. Let's see.
Fred wants to know if I'm going to start officiating volleyball now. She went to school right down the street from here at Scottsdale Christian. So I've been to lots and lots of volleyball games with Scottsdale Christian. But no,
would she be eligible to walk on?
That's what I'm thinking. She could walk on because, yeah.
Let's see here. There's got to be a place that has. What?
I think she has 2 years left.
Fred wants to know. Minnie, what did Taylor Raiola eat for breakfast today?
Yes, I love the Raiolas. I don't know what they ate for breakfast, though. Fruity Pebbles is what Dylan likes. We do know that from his interview.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't. Okay. First of all, of the Pebbles, Fruity's the lesser, like Cocoa Pebbles by far. Tell me I'm wrong, Chatterfields. Okay, I'll suffer your indignant cookies TCU website. Let's see. She's only 6. She's 6 foot. Scottsdale Christian Academy. As a senior in 2023, she appeared in 27 matches with 12 starts. Started every match at the Coastal Carolina Tournament and the Texas A&M Invitational. 8 kills, 14 digs in TCU's 3-1 win over North Florida. Tallied 7 kills in TCU's 3-zip win at Kansas State. Season best 17 kills, 21 digs. Good for her first double-double of the season in West Virginia on October 14th. Posted her second double-digit kill match of the season, finishing with 10 kills. I just don't know. Made appearances in both of TCU's NCAA tournament matches. is it good enough for John Cook's volleyball team?
I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that Matt Rhule did thank John Cook the day after the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if that had anything to do with, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like, that's not what I normally sit around doing, but is it all a coincidence?
Can't it be?
Okay. I hope not. I hope we get the whole family. That's what I'm hoping.
Fred says, geez, just happy there's a Rhule whose first name doesn't start with a D. Let's see here. Melissa's wrong when she says Fruity Pebbles best. That's just sorry. That's horrible. Fred says haven't had cereal since I was a kid. Bacon, eggs, and whiskey for me. Fred, I don't know how to tell you this, boss, but I had cereal this morning with some of my mom's homemade cinnamon rolls that she gave me on Christmas. And those Quaker Oat squares continue to be legit. So I will take that cereal. It's delicious. Kent Redding says, go big friggin' red, and also says NIL ruined things. There's a lot of things that have quote unquote ruined college football or college athletics, but the band marches on, and television networks continue to give out an insane amount of money, obscene. I don't think college athletics is going anywhere, Minnie.
I just wanted to say, it's really important, though, that the kids are making money because, I mean, the universities are making so much money, and it's only fair that the kids share in it. We do want the kids to just stay kids and actually, be in college. And I think, if you get the right head coach, that they're going to make sure that they're doing that.
Minnie, I have a question.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, you were in a part of the home that showed your Christmas tree and part of your living space. Last couple weeks, you've been up against the wall. But what we have to know, because Fred stating as such, we need to know if it's true. Do you have one of those Charlie Day conspiracy boards like this that has all your Husker musings on it?
It's all in my notebook.
Wait. Is that pink ink?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's on brand.
There's a lot of pink in my house. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, Kent, I don't disagree with a lot of, because I'm old school too, Kent, the gray hair. There's no cap and no accountability. There's a lot of things going on that I wish were different with college athletics. Again, I'm not a big fan of the transfer portal. I'm of the mindset that when you commit to a school, you commit to a school. But I also understand. Go ahead. Yes, Minnie, I'm sorry.
I am for the transfer portal because you can come out the corner. It's okay. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong. I'm just saying, for instance, Georgia, they won the national championship last year, so of course they're going to get a lot of 5-star commits. But what if they hogged all the 5 stars, and didn't play them? So these kids, they go to the school and they never get to play. At least now we get an opportunity to pick them up. So I'm happy for the transfer portal for that.
Did we talk about that last week, right? The warehousing or something of some of these kids.
Oh, I like that warehousing.
Where they, again, they with no intention. It was, I'm going to hoard all of these players. Yeah. And maybe we'll win a national championship and they'll get a ring even though they never saw the field or something like that. Right. I'm going to do it just to make sure that the Nebraskas or the whomever's Alabamas of that couldn't have them. So let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Fred says, in regards to your conspiracy board, it's probably behind the curtain, or John's there to make a cameo right at the end. Is John secretly behind the curtain?
No.
Okay. Methinks thou doth protest too much. John Newell wants to know, is Nebraska still going to try to get a transfer quarterback?
I doubt it.
I was gonna say, I don't really think you can afford it at this point.
Yeah, no. I think you go all in on your five. We have 2 amazing quarterbacks coming in.
And we already have a third pretty decent guy.
Yes. And we have two freshmen that we never even got to see.
And we never will.
You never know.
We never. Like, those guys got to know. They're like,
Right.
I'm here for the practice squad. All right, let's see here. Oh, I don't know how I missed this one. Branson, I'm so sorry. This was a long time ago. This is almost 10 minutes ago. Branson Chab says for $9.99. I'm not too fond of Michigan either, but we should not presume guilt before the investigations have concluded. Honestly, I would still support them in playoffs because I'm tired of SEC favoritism.
That's a good point.
All right, Chatterfields, eat them alive. No, I'm kidding.
But he has one good point to that comment he made. The SEC is favored. And so that's the only reason why I would consider supporting them.
If you think about it, the final college football playoff, while, technically, but it's really SEC versus Big Ten. Michigan, Washington against Texas, Alabama.
I know.
And that's probably how it's going to be moving forward. That's make me sad to say. My thing is, and we had this conversation, it's been a long time. I don't even know how far back, but it was if you had to like rebuild like a Big 8 conference, like I would say Oklahoma, Kansas, Kansas State, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Missouri. Like I wouldn't put Colorado and I wouldn't put Oklahoma State or any of the Texas schools. Now, I'm not interested enough in Iowa State, but like that would be my, regional rivalries. I think were always so much fun. And like Nebraska fan base and Nebraska athletes, I think are blessed because, Nebraskans leave kind of a lot. They leave the state and they
come to Arizona.
They go to Arizona. Another sign that I see often at Memorial Stadium is Californians for Nebraska. Minnesota has a Nebraska fan club or group up there. So Nebraska fans travel well, but not all of them are coming from Nebraska every week to wherever they are. They're Nebraskans who have, migrated earlier on in life. So Nebraska there will always be a presence of Nebraska fans, but you're going to, I understand what, we were talking about earlier about the UCLA Arizona rivalry in softball, and not everybody's going to want to make a trip. I feel bad for the West Coast teams who may have to go play at Rutgers. I feel bad for anybody who's got to go to New Jersey.
Right.
But it's a big ask for a lot of these fans to try to do some of this travel now. So I don't know.
It is. No, you're right.
So, let's see. Fred says, I still think John is Branson Chab laundering flex bucks through super chats. Minnie, put it on the board.
I'm on it.
So you can make notes in a notebook, and we'll see it next week. Let's see here. A couple others that were actual legitimate. Aaron says, if we have O-linemen who can block and receivers who can get open, we stay healthy. If not, well, ...
Yeah.
Again, I like where the offensive line is headed.
I love it.
I think they made vast improvements in, span of, a year. So let's get more stability and consistency under their belt. And let's shore up the left side, I would say, left tackle probably at the most. And maybe didn't
we have somebody move from defense to the offensive line? Was it Was it Vincent Carroll Jackson?
Yes, but I think that was a guard. I might be wrong on that.
Okay, all right.
But and played very admirably there in the end. But
Yeah.
we always could use top notch offensive tackles.
Yeah.
So
It
and
seems like we're going after guys who are really big, which I
like
love.
Grant Bricks is great, but I don't know if I want to put a true freshman in against the Big Ten defense. That I don't know where I don't know. Like I think again, I'm going to mess up the quote, so I apologize. I'm not, but I know Bill Parcells, said, I'll be paraphrasing here, talking to me. He's like, I'd much rather have that generational lineman talent rather than a generational skill position, because those guys are so tough to find. Not to understate it, but anybody can run and catch a pass. Not everybody can do what Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson did, but with enough training and preparation, anybody can run a route, etc. But getting that kind of Ndamukong Suh, I know that's the defensive line, but getting that type of I'll say Joe Thomas from Wisconsin years back. Anyway, though some of those guys, so those big bodies up front. So let's see. Fred gave me heck earlier, if you can believe it. There's no crying on 5 Heart Greg. Damn it. There. That's my best John impression on short notice. Thank you. We started getting that offensive lineman from Hawaii was big too. I don't disagree. Bat Dad.
So that's Ben Scott's from Hawaii. Is he? Yeah, he's from Hawaii. And he's friends with the Riolas. Sorry, this is not a conspiracy. This is truth. So he's our center, and then we got another guy coming from Hawaii, and Donovan and Dominic both grew up in Hawaii. So I love all that connection.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
It's not.
Let's see.
It's not.
Vince says, when the pile of bricks gets a couple years of weight room, they'll be just fine. Offensive line don't grow overnight. I don't disagree. Melissa says Grant Bricks from a running offense. Everyone says he'll have to learn pass block. And we have Aaron and Fred both said. Aaron says, are we playing 5 degrees of Riola? Fred says, up next, Minnie, 6 degrees of Riola separation. And okay, James says, I visited Hawaii, so put that on the board too. Oh my gosh.
Funny.
This could be the Kevin Bacon game. It's the Dylan Raiola game. It's
That's how I get my kids to listen to my stories about Nebraska football, is I will tie it to something they're interested in. So my oldest daughter loves Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
So I was saying, hey, do you remember me talking to you about that quarterback that used to live here? And remember how good he is? And she goes, no. Of course, I don't expect her to remember. And then I said, well, guess what? He started being coached by Patrick Mahomes' coach, his quarterback coach. And then I'm telling her, this whole story, how he might get signed to, this was before he signed, and was coming to Nebraska and yada, yada, yada. And then afterwards she goes, Mommy, did you start off the story with Patrick Mahomes so that I would listen?
She's getting wise to your game.
Yes. Yes.
So. Well, we started this episode an hour ago-ish with some New Year's resolutions, and Fred says he's going to work on throwing a chair 20% less of the time. Roger Moore vows to be less critical of the coaching staff.
We're gonna hold you to it, Roger.
Yeah, we're gonna mark that one down and see how close we can get to actually achieving success on that one. Aaron says my resolution is to not curse the O line as much as the woe line as much as I did in 2023. So there's we have a few resolutions.
That's good.
More than anything, we have a lot of fun. Here we go. Yep. Fred says James visited Hawaii, so that makes him what, Dylan's backup now?
Something like that.
Something like that. Again, Minnie, put it on the board and we'll figure it out. This is going to be Minnie after the show. I'm telling you. Let's see here. James runs a 7.440. Gets them in the false sense of security. Does the dog need some tending to?
Somebody just walked in and she desperately wants them. Yeah, hold on. Oh. Okay, come on.
Everybody's leaving me. Aaron says to Fred here, Fred, I have a friend who has a dog named Rex Barkhead. That's a great one. That's a great dog name for a Husker fan, Rex Barkhead. And I am bad. Dad's her to say.
No, she's not. She's just happy. My oldest daughter's home, and that's her favorite person.
Was the dog shaking the butt? Like doing that excited butt shake thing?
Yes, everything. Everything shakes.
Well, I don't know if we have anything else that you wanted to cover this week.
We just didn't really touch on any bowl games other than the Michigan-Alabama game, but that's okay.
Fine. I didn't watch any.
But they're starting basically what, Monday?
Yeah, the New Year's the New Year's 6 or Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pay more attention then. We'll have more to report next week. There's some
good games coming. There's at least a couple good games coming.
All right. MK says, I've had Hawaiian pizza. Pretty sure I could be an assistant line coach. And James says Mike instead of Rozier, Mike Rovier would be a good dog name. And Justin just wants to know if we can see the puppy.
Oh, she's already out visiting. I have 3. I have 2 English Yes, I have 2 English bulldogs and then 1 Yorkie who's her name's Puppy and she's 13. Nice. Yeah, that was Puppy.
And Fred's appropriating
is all you need.
My show here. Come on now. I've had the same tagline for over 350 episodes of this show now.
Wow, congratulations.
Going all the way back to, well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, like 2016 or something like that. So,
yeah.
All right. Here we go. Zizach says, if y'all didn't know, Carter Nelson's one of 6 finals for the National Maxwell High School Award. So it'd be nice if he brought some hardware to Ainsworth and kept it there, because we know college campuses are dangerous places for important and possibly expensive items. So just keep it away from campus. So, but I think that'll do it, Minnie, for this show. What did you think about your first show, Sans John?
I know. You're great. I think I put a lot of pressure on you.
Stop.
If I could figure some of this stuff out with the Chatterfields' help.
We couldn't do it. We could do the show without the Chatterfields, but it's not as fun.
We couldn't.
This is my favorite iteration of the show. We've done a lot of different versions of the 5 Heart podcast. This live version with all of your input is by far my favorite. So thank you all for tuning in. We know you have a lot of entertainment options on a Thursday night. We do appreciate you spending your time here with us here at the 5 Heart podcast. So for our absentee landlord, Mr. John Dam Johnston, who's not here tonight, for Minnie, who is, I'm Greg Mahochko. This is the 5 Heart podcast, where we remind you each and every week that 5 hearts is all you need. Minnie?
Thanks, guys. Have a happy new year and be safe, everyone.
And go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
I can't shout that much. I got a family sleeping, but go Big Red.